but we didn't finish the game. We didn't do what I said at halftime, finish. That's what we've got to do. We got Children's next week. We got to get ourselves ready. You understand? Everybody got it. Let's get in there and break it down. Let's go.
Heartbreaking loss on the road for the Lincoln Golden Bears. We're in now with head coach of the Golden Bears, Coach Brad Wallace. 27-26, the game against Moody. Obviously, in situations like this, it almost makes you sick to talk about the game in itself. First off, it's the first region loss of the season. Talk about just the way things played out, and we'll see a lot in the highlights. But from your perspective,
well, it was tough on our kids, number one, and I was down and out with them. We actually had a meeting today and got to discuss a good bit of what went on Friday night.
Right.
And there's no need in pointing fingers at anybody. We all made enough mistakes, and even if it comes down to a scout team player during the week, if it's an offensive lineman that may have took a play off during the week or something like that, we can't go to pointing fingers. I mean, and that's the main thing. We're a family, and we've got to stay together, and it doesn't matter what anybody else says. We've got to hold together, and we've got to stay true.
One of the things that you said in the intro was finish. We didn't finish like we were supposed to finish. Talk about the elements of that, and then maybe the way this team can grow and learn because of this experience.
Well, during this game, we went into our personnel, of course, was not all there. We took Zay out of the game this week. He had a little nag, and we were trying to get him healed up and get him fresh again. And we had Michael Taylor, which is one of our H-backs. He was actually out of the ball game, and he's got a nagging injury. And it's one of the we thought we could get away, could use some of our younger guys and get some game experience, and then that way when we get into playoffs, if some of these guys had to go in, they would have an opportunity. And we started out pretty strong. I mean, our kids really went out and they battled at the beginning of the game, and they went up on us 7 points, but we came back and put 21 points on the board.
Right.
And so that's something our team has been working with all year. But we just hadn't had this many guys with little knickknacks that we've had all year, and this was something to grow from.
Right. You finish off the region play, and you've seen now everybody in the region. You've played everybody in the region. Talk about this region in general. Obviously, Moody, when you looked at it and you're on film and on paper, and judging by the first half, Moody's a pretty strong football team, and there's a good test in this region.
Oh, it is, and they've got an outstanding running back, D. Williams. He's a physical runner.
Right.
I'll be honest with you, I'd love to have him in my backfield at any time, but we noticed him right off the bat when we did our breakdowns, and I said, guys, that was the first thing I said Monday before we started practice. I said, y'all have got to get him stopped.
Right.
We've got to get him stopped defensively, and we did that for about a half, and then we kind of, I don't know, they just found some ways to get to us a little bit defensively, and they put some points on the board and got us on our heels a little bit, and I don't know if we weren't ready for that, or I don't know if that was just a shocker to us, but we didn't respond like I thought we would.
Right. Turnovers also seem to play a big part in this game as well, both for and against.
Yeah, they did, and we had an interception right there in the middle of the third quarter, and I think that was kind of a little bit of the turning point for them, and got their morale back up, and kind of lifted them back up and getting them going, and we had so many guys that we had pulled out in that third quarter, and then you're having to get them stretched back out, get them back on the field, and I guess it just backfired on us a little bit right there.
Absolutely. 27-26 was the final score. You'll see the first half highlights coming up here on the Lincoln Playbook. Some special sponsors to thank. One of them, Luxury Auto Parts. Visit them at luxuryautoparts.com or insurancedirectautos.com. Give Lee McLean a call at 205-763-1084 or 1-888-589-PARTS. Go visit them over in Lincoln. We're back with more of the Lincoln Playbook after the break. We're back here on the Lincoln Playbook, Lincoln at Moody. First off, Coach, talk about some of the things you wanted to see out of your team in the first half.
Well, I want to see some of these young guys come out and really play hard. Runye Bell, he was our backup to Mario, and he kind of felt what it feels like at the beginning of the game to tote the rock at the beginning, and it's a little different. He came off the sidelines one time. He said, "Coach, I didn't realize it was like this at the beginning."
Yeah.
So, but we were battling around there, and it got better toward the middle of this half. We had some opportunities, we just didn't hit some holes sometimes, and that you're gonna have that with you when you got backup running backs in there.
There's D. Williams, the guy you talked about there in the first segment, and he's one of those. He's fast and he's got some power to him.
He is, and he was one that I had my eye on the whole time when we did our breakdowns. And I mean, he's so fast, and he's an explosive runner, and he makes quick cuts, makes one move, and gets out of there.
So they get the 7-0 lead, but as your team has done all season long, they seem just to fight back and punch right back.
That's right, and in this, I mean, I'm giving my props to Justin Knight. He came in and did an outstanding job moving from a receiver's position to a running back position in 1 week, and gave us a little depth there. So that means we've got 3 tailbacks again instead of just having our 2. But he gave us an opportunity in this ball game and did a real good job of being patient and waiting on his blocks.
And a lot of versatility there on your team as well, because you're able to use guys like JaMychal Baker on that drive, Justin Knight on that drive, and Runye Bell.
Yeah, we're trying to use all of our athletes. We try to get them all the balls and at least try to get them an opportunity to make some plays for our team.
Absolutely, nice gang style tackling there by the defense.
Yes, sir. They did an outstanding job. We were being physical right here at the beginning of this ball game, and I really thought we'd kind of turned the corner. I mean, even though they got up 7 on us, and I thought we were fixing to really start pouring it on a little bit.
And this second quarter is when you really start to make a lot of those big time moves. And there's JaMychal Baker, and he's just been a pleasure all season long to play with.
He has, and I mean, he's a phenomenal kid. He's a phenomenal athlete, great track star. And the thing about JaMychal Baker is, if he's injured, he's trying to get in the weight room, and that's one of those key ingredients that you need from a great athlete, and he's one of those that we're going to be using the rest of this year. And I mean, he's a phenomenal kid and got a great attitude.
And then your defense holds yet again, setting your offense up in great field position, and just go right back to the ground game and really started to punish them with it.
Yeah, that was one thing that we wanted to work on this week. Our rushing attack hadn't been very good the last couple of weeks, so we wanted to come in and get our offensive linemen sharpened back up and making sure we're doing the right things up there, and really trying to set the tone with our running attack.
Absolutely, and there's Runye Bell once again, with a big offensive play and then also a big defensive play. I
mean, he's all over the field every Friday night, and I don't see how the kid doesn't sleep very well, but he's one of those hyperactive kids, and he's wide open at all times.
Correct me if I'm wrong now. I think that's 4 out of the last 5 games you get points out of your defense. There's the big safety.
That's exactly right. Our defense coordinator, Coach Rutledge, he does a great job with them and getting them in position to make big plays, and they've been giving us some opportunities throughout the season to try to get in the end zone and not have to go on those long drives. So
absolutely,
we've been getting better and better on that side of the ball.
And then you tack on a field goal to end it. Take a big 26-7 lead at halftime, and you have to feel good about the way offense, defense, and special teams are playing, because at that point you had points by all 3 of them.
That's right, and I mean our kids are out battling. I mean and that's the thing I was really excited about in our first half is we went out and I gave major props to our offensive line. I said, y'all took care of my fresh backs in the backfield.
Right.
I mean, y'all made some big holes. Y'all did a good job. We just need to clean it up this week.
Absolutely. From a adjustment standpoint, was there anything that they did kind of differently? Because I know they were desperate. They needed this win. Was there anything they did differently that you saw on film for what they did Friday night?
Well, they went from a 4-4 to a 5. It's like a 5-1.
Right.
And they gave us a double eagle look, which is 0 2 3s.
Mm-hmm.
That was something we hadn't seen on tape out of any of their films.
Right.
And something new. We had to adjust to that a little bit. And offensive line wise, I mean, I've got puppies up there. I got some new guys that are still learning how to make major adjustments in games, and that was actually really good for them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now they've got their eyes open. They know exactly what to do, and that's something that I can carry over as we go through the playoffs.
You're up 27-6. Is there any part of you that wants to tweak things a little bit because you're up that much and you're throwing them out of their game plan, or is it how'd you want to handle that second half at halftime?
Well, at halftime when we came back out, I said we need to finish the second half,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to get our ground game back going again in the second half, and penalties kind of got to us in the second half, and you'll see that as we go along. it kind of that's the one thing that we got off. We got off our focus a little bit there,
Right.
And hopefully that can be tweaked on this week, and maybe we can get some of those errors straightened out.
Absolutely. Also, from a offensive and defensive standpoint, was there anything that you saw out of your team that you actually liked? I mean, I know you're running the ball really well, but there was something that you saw maybe, hey, we have a good matchup advantage here.
Well, I mean, we saw our offensive line was getting a lot of push, and that was the main thing that I kept talking about, especially at halftime to our offensive linemen. Y'all are doing a great job. Keep it up. Keep it up. Y'all are taking care of these backs. Y'all keep it up. Let's work and try to get ourselves a little better this week, and we're going to grind on you a little bit. And that was the one thing defensively. We had to make some adjustments. They kept throwing a flat screen out on where they flowed the back out, and that was something we hadn't seen on any tape. So we had to make some adjustments there.
Absolutely. 27-26 was the final score of this one. You'll see second half highlights. We'll also talk about the Week 10 opponent in Childersburg coming up here on the Lincoln Playbook. But first, the marching band coming up, their performance over at Moody last Friday night. Welcome back to the Lincoln Playbook. Second half highlights. Lincoln's game against Moody. Coach, you got the ball in the first half. You give it to him in the second half. Talk about what you want to see out of your defense.
I wanted us to come out and then go have a 3 and out right here. I mean, that's what we needed to have as far as our defense and get us going offensively. And Justin Knight has a great run right here. I mean, he did a phenomenal job of being his first time in the backfield, and our backup quarterback did a good job managing the ball game.
And then you get the ball back on offense, and you're starting to move the ball really well. An unfortunate mistake right there.
Yeah, he let the ball float a little bit, and I mean, it's the first time he's really sat in a whole ball game and had to be that focused throughout a whole ball game. And I hate it for him, but I mean, you're gonna have that every now and then out of your backups. And one thing that he learned from it, I mean, he'll go back and he'll sharpen up his skills a little bit right there.
Absolutely, what a fantastic tackle right there, a physical ball game.
That was Justin Knight, man. I mean, he's been all over the place the last couple of weeks. He's really come alive for us and helping us out and making a lot of big plays for us.
And then they go right back to D. Williams right there, and you can see his speed on the outside. He's one of the fastest guys that y'all probably played against this year.
He is, and I mean he's probably the most physical runner we've played against this year. I mean he does a lot out on the edge on his own, and just being able to make his cuts and speed out of them. That's the big thing with him.
So fourth quarter, you're up 26-14, and that they're wanting to throw the ball, needing to try to get some quick points here.
Yeah, and they kept using the D. Williams. I mean, he was in a hot streak. I wouldn't blame him. I mean, I would keep feeding him the ball as much as I could, and he did a lot in the second half on his own.
And then they also try to run a lot of screens with him and kind of get him out of the backfield and use his hands.
Yeah, and it got our safeties in a bind a little bit on this, and that was something that we went back on the board a little bit this week to try to help ourselves out and help our corners, maybe get our corners more involved with those screens.
Right, and then we talked about Zay. He ended up having to come back in a little bit later in the game. That was a great pass there.
Yeah, we put him in the last 6 minutes of the ball game. The whole ball game, he was tapping me on the shoulder, Coach, I can go. I promise you I can go. I can go. But it was one of those deals. I was trying to keep him out of there as much as I could, and he came back into the ball game, and he gave us kind of a lift right in that area.
And then here you got a great pick.
Yeah, this is Devontae Whiteside. He's a phenomenal athlete for us. Played free safety, and he gets our defense set up every week, and he's doing a great job. Had a little bobbled snap right here, and wound up getting blocked, and then returned for a touchdown right here. And this is where it starts kind of going downhill a little bit for us. I think we dropped our heads a little bit. I'd like for us to pick it back up, but Runye Bell comes back and saves us again.
Absolutely, a fantastic interception there by Runye Bell. And then you get a great run here out of Justin Knight out of that same formation.
Yeah, we're trying to feed these backs as much as we can. And to be honest with you, right here, I'm trying to work on my running game still. And I know a lot of people don't understand that, but the ball handling and stuff like that, that's part of our discipline, and we've got to hang on to that. But like I said, we're not going to point fingers. We made enough mistakes throughout this ball game to lose it.
Absolutely. And then towards the end there, that they're trying to just throw something up, and then here actually have great coverage on that last play. Happens to thread the needle, and he ends up getting in there for the touchdown.
We had a guy all over him, and I thought it was going to be picked off, to be honest with you. I thought Devontae was coming back up on it, and I thought he was going to make it there on time, and then we would have picked the ball off and been okay. But they scored right at the last few minutes of the ball game, and it was a big win for them. And I don't know, it's a hard pill to swallow this week.
Yeah, and I understand that. Talk about just that aspect of it and trying to channel that frustration into something positive.
Well, the one thing that when we had our meeting, it was just me and the guys, and I said, we are a family. And things aren't going to go our way sometimes, and it's not going to be the best thing that probably for our team. And I know that it's going to be some situations that you're going to want to say somebody did this, somebody did that. But one thing that we've got to understand is everybody in this room is together, and we're all as one. I think Tennessee's coach did it best Saturday when he said, "I've got your back, you got my back." During his pregame speech, and I think that's one of the main things that we're going to work on this week is team unity, and we're going to get back on the horse again.
One of the things that you hear really on all levels of football, really in all levels of sports, is you go through the adversities. Every team has adversities at some point of the season, even if you have an undefeated year. But it's whenever you're down and whenever things start to go against you, if you bond together, those are the teams that end up going the longest way.
And getting stronger. I've done a lot of soul searching this weekend, of course. And you do that after losses. You do that to make sure that you're doing the right things with your team and trying to get them ready. But I told them, I said, guys, I'm gonna keep working. I said that's the one thing that you're always gonna get out of me is you're gonna get somebody that's gonna be working for you every week. And I'm gonna try to make you the best team that you can be. And if we wind up champions, that's what we need to be.
And I know it's kind of bittersweet to celebrate the region championship after that, but talk about that fact of it. You are region champions.
Yeah, our kids are very excited about that. That was one of our team goals at the beginning. I said, let's do this instead of like last year. Last year we set our bar too high. We kind of we looked over the region championship and went into the playoffs. This year our kids, they said, we just want to take region championship first thing, coach. And I said, okay, that's where we're going to start. So now our next goal is we're going to go deep in these playoffs, and that's what we want to try to do.
Absolutely. A big game next week against an inter-county team in Childersburg. We'll talk about that. We'll also dip a little bit into the playoffs as the Lincoln Golden Bears are region champions heading into the playoffs. One of our fine sponsors on the Lincoln Playbook is the Lincoln Booster Club. Any prospective member is welcome to attend all their meetings. They meet every Monday, 6:30 p.m. Write it down, Rick's Crossroads Cafe on the corner of Highway 77 and 78 up on the hill. Lincoln Booster Club also supports all sports at Lincoln High School. Back with more of the Playbook after the break. Week 9 is in the books for the Lincoln Golden Bears. Now on to Week 10, and Coach, in Week 10 you have a good local game, a good inter-county game, a game against Childersburg, a really tough team.
Yeah, me and Coach Fawcett have a lot of respect for each other. I guess ever since I've been in the county, we kind of bonded a little bit because both of us came from Georgia before we got here. But it was one of those deals where I'm trying to build a program, and I ask him questions a lot of times. I lean on a lot of these coaches around this area. What did you do in this situation? What did you do in this situation? And he's one of those guys that I can talk to, and it's going to be a phenomenal ball game. And they have a great group of kids. They've got phenomenal athletes at their skill positions, and they've got a big group of offensive linemen.
They used to be one of the teams, and I don't want to be disrespectful or anything, but just kind of one of the doormats there of Talladega County. And then, like you said, Coach Fawcett walked in there and almost overnight turned that program around. They've been in the playoffs now. This is the second straight year.
He does. He did. He did a great job with them. He's got a great weight program going, and he's got it. He's got a great scheme going, offensive and defensively. I mean, we spent a lot of time against it, working on trying to figure out our game plan that we're going to use against his defense this week. It's very tough, and so we're trying to work through that right now.
You also play this game on Thursday night as opposed to Friday night. Talk about getting that. It's one day less as you prepare also for Week 11. They're also going to the playoffs as well. Talk about just the aspect of playing on a Thursday.
Well, the thing, I mean, when me and him talked about playing, the first thing we said was let's play it on a Thursday night since it's going to be the last ball game of the season.
For sure.
Both of us would be getting ready for playoffs, and that would give us an opportunity to go watch somebody else play.
Right.
And I said I agreed with it 100%. And then me and him just, I mean, it's a great atmosphere because pretty much we're going to be the only ones playing in that area that Thursday night. And I'm really excited about playing it. I mean, a long time ago, I mean, I can remember ever since we've been playing them when I was in high school, it was always a close ball game. It didn't matter what their record was. It was always a tight ball game. And he's got a phenomenal football team this year that's coming on strong at the end. And I'm going to tell you something. They're going to be something to be dealt with this week.
You obviously can't go, well, this team beat this team and this team beat this team to judge anything. But they also, they beat Montford, towards the end of the season to get themselves in playoff position. So they're a dangerous football team as far as what they can accomplish on the field.
Yeah, they've been kind of coming out of their shell the last couple of weeks. I mean, if you watch them on tape, I mean, it seems like every week they've gotten better at the end, and I tell you, this is the time you're supposed to peak. This is the time that you want to peak, whereas you're going into the playoffs. He beat a very good Elmore County team last Friday night, and I mean that's where I keep watching. I was like, man, this team's getting a lot better each week.
Right.
And I mean, guys, we've got to have one of the best game plans. I told our coaches that, and we worked hard on it today.
You guys are the region champions, and we don't want to look too far ahead and look in the playoffs and all that. But now that we know the way the region is now set up, talk about these 4 teams that'll head into the playoffs representing Class 5A Region 6.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. The top 4, they've got a phenomenal. I mean, their records, as far as their regular season record, doesn't show exactly what they are, but I mean they've come alive here in the last few weeks. Alexandria's done a great job of turning their season around toward the end. Mortimer Jordan, of course, they're a phenomenal team. They've got a great passing attack and got a great running attack, and of course we're trying to be one of the top-notch programs, and it's. I mean, it's taken a little time this year, but we're going to get better.
Absolutely, and then you also match up against the region that is a little bit north of a lot of the same mountain teams, and then you got Madison County in there as well. Obviously, you'll play Boaz. We don't want to look too far ahead, but talk about those 4 teams that represent Class 5A Region 7.
Well, I mean, the first thing that we did when we looked where we were going to cross over, we had a little discussion, I guess, with our staff a couple weeks ago, and I was like, man, I don't know if we want to play Guntersville or Madison County right now, but those two teams are firing on all cylinders right now, from what I understand. And the Etowah and Boaz, I mean, they're all 4 great football teams, and I mean, it's going to be one of those deals where we just want to battle and take it 1 week at a time. I told my coaching staff, I said, y'all can look at the brackets.
Right.
Just let me handle 1 game at a time.
Right.
Just tell me who we're playing the next Friday when we get done.
Childersburg is one of those teams that they're playing for a different championship. They're going to be playing for the 4A state crown. You guys will be playing for the 5A state crown. Do you handle this week any differently, or is it, hey, let's go out, play our best, and do anything? Or is there any kind of gamesmanship, not trying to show Boaz too much or whatever?
Well, I mean, in this ball game, you got both teams that are. I mean, we know each other. I mean, a lot of our kids know each other, and we played with each other since they were little, and or they've got family that's on that other team. So it's one of those in-county rivals that is going to be it's probably going to be a bloodbath a little bit. I hate to have that happen right here at the end, but both of these teams going up against each other, there's going to be some contact in this ball game.
Final question very quickly. Always like to talk about making progress 1 week to the next between winning and losing. What's one of the things you want to see tangibly this team get better at when you watch film next week?
Well, the main thing that I want us to do is finish, and that's our main goal as a team each week. Is we want to finish the ball game just as strong as we started, and we kind of backed out a little bit, but I think this team's really hungry, and I think we can go out there and we can take care of business each week. we just got to gather everything back up,
Right.
get everybody back on the right path, and we'll be fine.
Absolutely. Sounds like a great way to handle what happened in Week 8 and Week 9. Obviously now it's Week 10 against Childersburg. Go out and see the Lincoln Golden Bears. They play on Thursday, like Coach said. Head out there. Should be a great night of football. For Coach Brad Wallace and our entire crew here at the Lincoln Playbook here on TV 24, thank you very much. We'll see you next week.